Tonight, one of the beefy gladiators from Spartacus talks about his coming out. Hi everybody, welcome to the program. I'm Andrew Whiteside. My guest is Heath Jones, an actor you may remember from Spartacus. You may remember his beefy body from Spartacus, but there's more to actor Heath Jones than that. Tonight he discusses his acting, his body, and his philosophy on life. Heath, welcome to the program. Lovely to have you here.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
I wanted to ask you about your time in Spartacus and just a general sense of what you've liked about it, what it's done for you, what the experience has been like.
I had, several years earlier, given up any hope of a career as a professional actor, been doing other things, sort of opening other doors. And so to get a call and say that they were interested in seeing me for a role and thinking, oh God, you know, do I even audition? I thought, what the hell, you know? It was about being in a good mental space, and I was, so I auditioned. Ironically, I ended up with the role. And so all of a sudden there I am as a professional actor. And so, you know, personally, it was a really weird and challenging situation. And it's such a big machine. The character they play, Donar, is just a tiny, tiny cog in that machine. And even though he's considered a lead, he's probably the smallest lead role in the whole thing. And so he speaks every episode. You are treated like a king by everybody, and sort of more or less equally, you know, with all the other very major roles in it. And yet, and you're on set a lot, you're there a lot, but you're ironically very aware of what a small part you play in that machine. It's a very interesting experience. And I realized that you are paid to wait and you act for free, which is it's an old adage, but boy, is it true. So true.
For the role, of course, you have to be a certain physical type.
Yeah.
You know, all these gladiators, Roman times.
Yeah.
So what's involved for you in maintaining that shape?
It had started many years before. I doubt I would have got the role if I didn't look a certain way. And that was always something that kept the whole getting the role in perspective as well. Because if I'd still been the skinny guy I was through my 20s, you know, they wouldn't have even auditioned for me because I was playing a big German gladiator. So there wasn't so much a getting in shape for Spartacus as there was me sort of already being in an appropriate shape. They do have a boot camp that they run every year before they start shooting. It's usually run for 4 to 2 weeks before the season starts. And it's kind of like CrossFit, or there's a gladiator training school in town called Ludus Magnus, which isn't swords and things, but it's team training. It's a fantastic, motivating, encouraging environment where you are helping each other, you know, do particularly sort of hard and physically grueling tasks, but I mean, ultimately incredibly satisfying, and you have a real sense of achievement at the end of it as well. And that boot camp was always coupled with stunt fighting, you know, rolling, hand fighting, sword stuff. This year we also fought with poles and staffs, I guess. That was really interesting and a little bit too much for my brain.
Your physicality, obviously you're saying, it helped you get the role.
Yeah. Well,
can it work against you though in the industry?
Oh, absolutely. I think if a casting director looks at you and goes bodybuilder, I mean, that's all you are. They need to look at you and go super fit dad or whatever. But if they look at you and go bodybuilder, I think it screws you over a little bit. And so that can be about appropriateness of wardrobe when you're dressing to go to an audition. You know, you don't necessarily want to wear something that's tight and makes you look all sort of beefy. You want to wear something that's character appropriate. So, you know, super fit dad we can live with, bodybuilder definitely work against you.
I wanted to go back in time a little bit. 2008, you became Mr. Urge for that year.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did you want to enter? What was that about?
I don't really know why I wanted to do it at the time. I had become acquaintances with Alan and Paul, who owned the bar, and they kept saying, yeah, you should enter, it'll be a good time, da, 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 da. And so kind of on a bit of a whim, I said that I would, and then all of a sudden the competition was rolling towards me, and you have to do a little bit of preparation. And so I did that preparation. I had a lot of help from my partner at the time, and I had a good time, and I won, which was kind of bizarre. It was very strange, and of course that's sort of the prize you win is free airfare over to Melbourne to compete in the Australasian competition, which I also won, which was crazy. Yeah, it's a good time. It's a lovely, big, friendly family. It's amazing.
Obviously, we all get older, and I know that we all struggle with it at some point in our lives. I'm wondering, from a perspective as a gay man, and obviously a very articulate, intelligent, and out there kind of gay man, what do you think about the aging process, and how do you feel about getting older?
I mean, it's a really interesting question. A friend of mine said that they had always heard from, I think, maybe from one of their parents, that youth is wasted on the youth. And I mean, it's when I look back at photos of myself when I was younger, I look and I think, I'm just surprised. I thought I was so bad, wrong, ugly. You know, I had such low self-esteem and such a poor image of myself. And as I've gotten older and I have sort of armoured up to a degree and conformed or transformed myself into a sort of a physicality that people challenge less. And I've done that obviously over the years, and so with age has come a greater sense of security and safety in myself. So I suppose in the broader sense, I've enjoyed getting older because I've become happier and happier with who I am. Obviously, I had a really sort of a dark patch for about 4 years, sort of ended only about a year ago, so after my first season of Spartacus. But I knew, even as I was going through this, that my goal and ambition in life was to be a better man and to live by the values that I knew would make me happy as a human being. And so that's what I do now.
Can I ask you what brought on that dark patch as you refer to it? Can you share that with me? Or?
You know, that they're so deeply personal. It involved a relationship that I was in and had been in for about 9 years. Things started to sour there, and then I got mixed up in a whole world that sort of swallowed me whole.
It's interesting how those moments, though, as bleak as they can be when you are going through them, can actually lead to a whole load of insight and a new direction, and a positive direction.
I remembered who I was and what used to motivate me and what used to make me happy. And so I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful for that. But, you know, the people that were close to me and loved me, I put them through hell for a long time. A lot of worry.
It's part of the process of life, really, isn't it?
Yeah. It would have been nice not to have done all my processing on them, you know.
I just wanted to have a look a little bit about your coming out process.
Sure.
So how was that for you?
Look, I think comparatively to a lot of people, it was probably pretty easy. I had some gay friends who are older, not romantic friends, but just friends from musical theatre and stuff like that. And ironically, came as a bit of a surprise to my mother. Don't know how she missed it. I particularly as a teenager, I was incredibly effeminate, and that didn't really sort of start to disappear, I think, until I was in my 20s. So, yeah, basically it was in a position where I had to tell her, because she didn't want me to be friends with people anymore. And I just said, well, I'm gay, so this is how it's going to be. And yeah, she was just really surprised, but you know, she's been very accepting of me and my partners over the years. My sister was ecstatic. She was so happy. And I really copped out. I didn't actually tell my father, my mother did. And but he seems sweet with it. So, you know, it's just not something that ever really, we don't, sadly, I'm not that close with my dad, and so we don't need to talk about it, you know.
What is it you think that leads to a happy, successful or fulfilled kind of life?
Finding out who you are and what makes you happy, and just making sure that everything that you do, that you say, sort of comes out of that place. I mean, obviously, there are times where we're not performing at our best, you know, might be ill, might be stressed with something else. And I mean, those things all affect how successfully we actually operate from our centre. And I suppose it's just not judging yourself at those times, always doing your best. And I was really lucky. I had counselling for a year at the New Zealand AIDS Foundation. They have a free counselling service for homosexuals. And I had a fantastic counsellor down there, and she basically just helped me start to say to myself, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to work out, you know. And as soon as I sort of was able to fire up that nurturing voice inside of myself, I really started to turn a corner.
Heath, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.
Really appreciate you being on the show.
It's my pleasure, Andrew.